if your existence doesn't leave a hole, and it's not because you want people to go through pain, it's because you want to be so valuable to people that when you're gone, it's felt. A lot of people in this world that work really, really hard to be so valuable that when they left, it was impactful, and they feel like they really did their best with their ride, because you only get one.
Right.
I'd love to be known as a man that was a savage leader that completely fought against hypocrisy in every way, lived his truth completely. Not only a leader of men, but somebody that really had a heart for all men and all people, because I feel like helping men is a direct way to not only help men, but also to help women. If we create stronger men in this world, then we create a better world for both men and women.
Facts, yeah.
I want to be remembered as a person that was all those things, and I think the final thing I'd want to be known for is I'd want people to say that I had a beautiful mind. Yeah, physically attractive, handsome, strong, all these things, but he was an intelligent man. I challenge any young man to do this. Go sit down in your room, close your eyes, and imagine all the people that love you in a room, and your coffin's in there, and you're in that coffin, and you've passed. Write down everything that preacher or your loved one would say about you, your integrity, your accomplishments, and who you were as a man. It's one of the most impactful exercises you will ever do in your life. It puts things in perspective. It's dark. It's a little bit painful. If you don't know where you're going in life and you don't have a direction, sit down, close your eyes, imagine that you're dead and gone, and think about the overall story of how they would talk about you at your funeral with your loved ones in the room and you laying there in that casket. It's a very powerful exercise. I advise all young men to do it. It will really help get your perspective of your life, where you're going, what you're currently doing in line, and kind of put a foot in your ass, because it's a dark thing to do, but I think it's a very healthy thing for any man to do and to revisit.
There's one thing that's guaranteed in life, and that's death. And the thing you guys got to understand is that on your tombstone, it's going to have your birthday followed by your death day. And what you're defined by is a dash in between. What did you do during that fucking dash? Right. And I don't think enough guys take that seriously. During that dash, did you create a legacy, or did you embarrass the legacy? Did you make the people around you better, or did you be a detriment to society? Are people proud to carry your last name? Is your son going to be able to walk into a room and people are going to respect him off of your accomplishments, or that he's going to be embarrassed, he's going to have to change his last name because of your failure? Right. Is the woman that you had, is she going to be proud and be able to sit there and actually cry real sobs of sorrow?
Yeah.
Because he passed away, or is she going to cry tears of joy because you're a fucking loser and she's going to get a better guy?
And this is also not an excuse for a young man to put it off until his 30s.
That's true.
Because your hard work and your dedication and your grit and all that shit, that is not a guaranteed path to success. Many, many people have given their heart to their business and failed, flat out fucking failed. They did everything right. They went to bed, they didn't party, they studied, they did everything, and they still fucking lost.
The planet has something to prove. If you walk through life and feel like you have nothing to prove, then you're a fucking loser. If you wake up each day and go, I don't owe anybody anything, I don't have to prove anything to anybody, then you are a loser, because you are absolutely not the incorrect. You must prove yourself to other people. You must prove yourself to your bloodline, as we just discussed. You must prove yourself to God. God hates the lazy. He can't stand them. If he gives you all these genetic dispositions and these natural God-given gifts, if you have 2 arms and 2 legs and you can think, and you're not trying your absolute best, that's the reason you're not lucky. He doesn't like you. He likes the people which show him the beauty of his own creation. He likes to give somebody building blocks and then to build something amazing. It's the best thing about being a man. You get to build who you are, right? You can decide if you want to be a funny comedian or a musician or a kickboxing world champion or fight the Matrix. You can decide whatever you want to be. God loves to see that. Those people, for some reason, seem to be enormously lucky, right? The person who goes, I don't have to prove anything to God. I don't owe all of my ancestors any effort. You know, for 5,000 years, people were dodging saber-toothed tigers and catching the plague and running from Genghis Khan just for my stupid ass to be born. I don't owe them anything. I don't owe them a thing, because I want to play video games. These people are fucking losers. You should walk through earth with force inside of you. As I walked into this hotel reception, everybody looked. Not because they know who I am, but because as I move, even if it's behind their head, people feel something and they go, it's an energy that comes from brutal competence. It's almost like an evolutionary thing where a rabbit can just smell a fox. It just knows. That's what happens when a predator walks in a room, even amongst humans. You pay attention next time you're in a restaurant. If a man who's truly dangerous walks in, nearly every other man kind of looks up at the same time. You feel it. You need to, or you don't survive. We've evolved with that to live. That's who I am. I couldn't imagine not being that man. I've done that because I've been trying to prove myself to my lineage my entire life. I wake up every day with something to prove. I have hundreds of millions of dollars. I wake up and think, fuck, more. I'm in fantastic shape, 4 times world champion, fighting the Matrix out here by myself, more. I will have to be braver. I must try harder. All I do is prove myself. So when I hear people go, I don't have nothing to prove, then you're a fucking loser. Peasants have never felt like they needed to prove anything, but kings felt like they needed to go and conquer land. Isn't that it's coincidental that the king, who already had it all, felt like he needed to go to some far-flung land and conquer it and take it and prove he's the king? But the peasants, oh, I don't have to prove nothing to nobody. You're a fucking loser then. You're a dummy. I absolutely and utterly, completely have everything to prove to everybody all of the time. That's who I am. I will prove anything to anybody. If I sit and say X, I will prove it to anyone. I can be checked any time. Someone would have come up to me in that lobby and argued with my ideas, I would have proved that my ideas are sound. If they would have attacked me, I would have destroyed them completely and utterly. Absolutely. That's who I am.
You guys know that, if you do the work, you work hard enough, dreams come true. You know that, we all know that. But hopefully what you get from tonight is the understanding that those times when you get up early and you work hard, those times when you stay up late and you work hard, those times when you don't feel like working, you're too tired, you don't want to push yourself, but you do it anyway. That is actually the dream. That's the dream. It's not the destination, it's the journey. And if you guys can understand that, then what you'll see happen is that you won't accomplish your dreams. Your dreams won't come true. Something greater will.
I play to figure things out. I play to learn something, right? Because I think if you play with a fear of failure, or you play with a will to win, or if that supersedes a fear of failure, I think it's a weakness either way, right? Because if you play with the fear of failing, you'll have the pressure on yourself to play, to capitulate to that fear. If you play with the sense of I want to win, then you have the fear of what happens if you don't. But if you find common ground in the middle, in the center, then it doesn't matter. You're unfazed by either, right? That enables you to really just stay in the moment, stay connected to it, and not feel anything other than what's in front of you. So, I try to just be dead center. So if you fail on Monday, the only way it's a failure on Monday is if you decide to not progress from that, right? So to me, that's why failure is not existent. Because, if I fail today, I'm gonna learn something from that failure, and I'm gonna try again on Tuesday.
What I've learned is to always keep going. Always. There's been times, particularly early in my career, where it just feels like this is the end. But what I've come to find out is that, no matter what happens, the storm eventually ends. And when the storm does end, you want to make sure that you're ready. And so I've really learned to put one foot in front of the other, good, bad, or indifferent, because eventually that storm passes.
I think the best way to prove your value is to work, is to learn, is to absorb, to be a sponge. You always want to outwork your potential. As hard as you believe you can work harder than that. And that's what I tried to do when I first came in the league. But, basketball is such a direct competition sport that me coming in at 17, I hated when, my teammates would say, I get hit with an elbow, right? Shaq would hit with an elbow in practice. Nick Van Exel would come up and say, are you okay? I'm like, motherfucker, what? Imagine you wake up at 3, you train at 4, and go 4 to 6, come home, breakfast, relax, blah, blah, blah. Now you're back at it again, 9 to 11, right? You relax, and now all of a sudden you're back at it again, 2 to 4, and now you're back at it again, 7 to 9. Look how much more training I have done by simply starting at 4.